Howdy folks, so it's traffic jam chat time. I'm in traffic, come and chat with me. Now, I know straight away, if you've seen the title and the thumbnail, I know there's going to be people down in the comments straight away. I can see it right now. We told you so. We told you Starmer was a Tory in disguise. We knew this was coming. Why did you vote for him? You're the problem. That's the best one. You're the problem. I'm the problem. I know there's going to be loads of comments down there, but yeah, today I want to talk about this scrapping of the winter fuel allowance for pensioners. I'm not happy. I'm not happy about it. And I sympathise with anyone that has put those comments down there. You know, I voted for Starmer. I had a lot of turmoil on whether to vote for Labour. And, you know, we had the honeymoon period, right? The first week, they scrapped Rwanda. Fantastic. Adults back in the room. Of course, Rwanda is a bonkers, ridiculous waste of money. Thank God. We had the scrapping of new oil and gas contracts. Yes, thank God. Again, adults back in the room. Renewables is the future. Why are we persisting with oil and gas? Fantastic. But now we've got this. The scrapping of the pensioners' fuel allowance. And on the surface, it seems like a good policy, right? I mean, most people would agree that there's plenty of wealthy pensioners out there that don't need an extra couple of £100 help with their fuel bills. In some cases, there's a lot of millionaire pensioners out there that really don't need a couple of £100 help with their fuel bills. It seems good on the surface. Rachel Reeves has announced that, you know, those most poorest pensioners, the ones that are in receipt of pension credits, will still get the fuel allowance. It seems good on the surface, doesn't it? It seems like a legitimate policy. But when you look into it, I mean, do you actually know what the threshold is to qualify for pensioner credits? So it's £11,000 if you're a single pensioner. If you earn more than £11,000 in a year, you can't get pensioner credits. And if you're a couple, it's £17,000. Now, I'm sorry, but if you're a single person earning £11,000 a year, what's that, less than £1,000 a month, you're in poverty. You are. I mean, believe it or not, not every single pensioner owns their own home. Not every single pensioner has social or council housing. A lot of pensioners out there are renting in the private sector. A lot of pensioner couples are renting in the private sector. 17,000 for a couple, 11,000 for a single person. So if you're a couple, use the couple example, you know, that's about 1,400 a month, isn't it? So if you're renting in the private sector for a place that accommodates two people, probably talking £800 rent, 200 for your electric, things like that, 200 for food. You know, God forbid you have anything like a mobile phone or a broadband, which essentially everyone needs now to survive. You're in poverty. If you're earning, and especially if you're a single person, £1,100, you're in poverty. You're in absolute poverty. And it just, coming back to those comments, it amazes me that we're getting this from a Labour government. When I was thinking of doing this video, I was thinking, if this was a policy, if this was a year ago and the Tories had come out with this, I'd be doing a video bashing the Tories. And the stupid thing is, I mean, this policy, this winter fuel allowance, was brought in the 90s by a Labour government, right? We've had 14 years of a Tory government that didn't scrap it at all, kept it. I mean, granted, pensioners are their voter base, so they don't want to piss them off, but they kept it. And it's a Labour government that have come in and scrapped it. And, you know, last year I was making videos. I was making loads of videos about pensioners having to choose between heating and eating. That was the big thing, wasn't it? Pensioners having to choose between heating and eating. And the Labour government had come in and made that worse. They made it worse. That's not what I voted for. Okay, I knew that they'd have to make some hard choices, and you know, I wasn't happy about the child benefit cap, but at least they were actually honest about the child benefit cap on the run up to the election. I just can't believe we're getting this from a Labour government that are pushing a certain amount of pensioners into poverty. It's the ones in the middle that are suffering here. And I was chatting to my dad recently because this affects him. Those of you may know my dad. If you've been a long-term viewer of the channel, you may know my dad. I'd done a video with him where he talked about Brexit. You know, he went down that rabbit hole of Brexit. He voted for Boris Johnson, and this time round, you know, I'll put the video at the end if you want to watch it. You know, he realises that he's made mistakes, and he regrets some of the votes that he made with Brexit and Johnson. And this time round, he put his trust in Starmer. He was like, he's going to go back to his core, and he's going to vote for Keir Starmer. And he feels really betrayed. He really does. I spoke to him the other day. He feels straight away betrayed. Because, I mean, it's worth like about £400 quid a year, I think, for a couple. I think it's £200 for a single person. Again, I think it's reduced if it's a couple. £400 a year. You know, would my dad have put his cross next to Labour if he knew, you know, Keir Starmer would pop up and say, oh, thanks for your vote. By the way, can you just give me £400 quid? It's not right. It's not right. And I can't believe we're getting this from a Labour government. And like I say, I understand we have to make hard choices, all that stuff. I get it. And I know that the real blame is at 14 years of a Tory government that has destroyed this country, absolutely decimated this country, which is why this Labour government are having to make really hard choices like this. I understand that the Tories are at the core blame for this, for ruining this country. But I just don't understand why people like my dad are having to pay for it. And surely that money can come from somewhere else. Surely a raise in VAT for luxury goods, or some sort of increase in capital gains tax, or stocks and shares tax. You know what I'm talking about. The folks that sit on wealth, there must be some way to claw that back from them, not people on basically on the breadline. And if you're earning £11,000 a year as a single pensioner, you're in poverty, and they're taking that from you. And this is the problem that I have. You know, the policy as a whole is a good policy. No idea why that car's beeping. But it's like the policy as a whole is a good policy, but they have to up that threshold. 11,000 for a single person, 17,000 for a couple is too low. You're in poverty. If you're earning 17,000 as a couple, you're in poverty. In 2024 England, you're in poverty. They need to at least raise that to £2,000 or something. Like I say, the policy is good. It just needs serious review. And, you know, I want to write to my MP, but I don't think my MP will give a shit. That's another reason why I'm quite bitter about voting Labour. Like, I didn't want to because of what happened with my MP, Russell Lloyd. I would have been quite happy to write to him, and I think he would have given a shit. But I don't think the guy that replaced anyone. I'm going down a completely different rabbit hole. Please let me know. I know that my demographic for my channel, I have quite a few people in the pension age bracket, so I'd love to hear from you guys. Are you affected by this? I'm sure I'm going to hear loads of excuses from Labour loyalists that will say it doesn't really affect anyone in poverty because of the pension credits. It is. I'm sorry, but it is. You know, when I first heard about it, I wanted to defend this. I wanted to try and defend it, but you just can't defend it. You can't. When you look into it, £11,000 a year for a single pensioner is poverty. You're in poverty if you're earning that. And, you know, I thought Labour were coming in to stop pensioners having to choose between heating and eating, but they're doing the opposite. That's where I'll leave it today. If you like the video, click a like. If you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe up top. Be another video, you can check that out as well. I'll put that video up, my chat with my dad. You can check that one out if you haven't viewed it before. But yeah, pensioners, please let me know. Has this affected you? How do you feel about it? Till next time, take care. Whoa! Okay.